Okay, students, in the last class we discussed about the basics regarding the operating system. In this class, we are going to discuss about the basic functionality of the kernel and what is the kernel of the operating system and what are the basic functionalities regarding the kernel of the general purpose operating system as well as the kernel of the real-time operating system, which we call as the real-time kernel. Okay. So here the kernel is the core of the operating system. Whatever the services that is provided by the operating system are actually provided by the kernel. And it is responsible for managing the system resources and the communication among the hardware and other system resources. Kernel acts as a abstraction layer between the system resources and user application. And we can also we discussed in the last class, operating system is a bridge between the user applications and the hardware, right? System applications and the hardware of the system. Like this, we can also define the kernel, which acts as the abstraction layer between the system resources and user applications. And this kernel contains a set of libraries and services. So there are two types of operating systems that possible. There are two types of operating systems, right? So what are the two different types of operating systems we discussed? General purpose operating system and real-time operating system, right? So the operating system which is used in the general purpose computing systems like personal computers, desktop computers. So that operating system we can call as general purpose operating system, which is non-deterministic in nature. Whereas in the case of real-time operating system, which is deterministic in nature, is to do in a domain-specific, application-specific systems like embedded system, which we use the real-time operating system. So for general purpose operating system, the kernel contains the different services for handling the following. Like so the following which we are going to discuss today are the services are provided by the kernel of the general purpose operating system. After that, we will go to the services that are provided by the kernel of the real-time operating system, that is called real-time kernel. Okay. So process management, primary and secondary memory management. These are all essential services which are provided by the kernel of the general purpose operating system. And file system management, IO system management, like IO device system management, and production systems and interrupt handlers. So these are all the services provided by the kernel of the general purpose operating system, and we are going to discuss about system in detail. In the case of process management, this process management deals with the managing the process at task. This process management includes setting up the memory space to the process. After the process is created, so some memory needs to be allocated for it. Whereas like in the general purpose operating system, memory is allocated in the dynamic allocation is followed, right? Dynamic memory allocation by the process of dynamic memory allocation, the memory space is allocated to the process after it is created and before it is interpreted to the flash read-only memory of the system. And loading the process code into the memory, allocating the system resources, scheduling and managing the execution of the process, which we call as a process scheduling, and setting up the managing the process control block. Process control block is nothing but each process having its own control block, which contains the what is the content of the process control block? It contains the entire information regarding the process, right? So what is the ID? Unique ID is given for each process. What is the unique ID given for it? And what is the state of the process? And what is the pointed point? I mean, what is the context pointer pointing to, or stack pointer pointing to, and a process pointer? These are all the contents of the process control block, and each process having its own control block. And inter-process communication, establishing the communication between the process and process termination of the data. After the completion of the process execution is completed, the last state of this process life cycle is the termination. So these are all the services handled by the deal with the process management. So primary memory management. Under the memory management, there are two types of memory are primary memory and secondary memory. So what do you mean of this primary memory? The term primary refers to the volatile memory, like we random access memory. The two types of memories are possible: read-only memory and random access memory. Read-only memory is used to store the code, which is non-volatile. Even in the absence of external power, we won't lose any data in the case of read-only memory. Whereas in the case of random access memory, in the absence of external power supply, lose the data. We lost the data. And memory management unit of the kernel is responsible for the basic responsibilities of this memory management body, the kernel of the operating system, keeping track of which part of the memory is currently used by the process, right? So memory, after the process created, it is loaded into the memory. Okay, so which portion of the memory is currently used? Is currently used is that is placed by this memory management unit, and allocation and reallocation of the memory space. Whereas in the case of general purpose operating system, the memory space is allocated as a dynamic memory allocation is followed. Actually, by dynamic memory allocation only memory space is allocated. Okay, allocating the memory after the execution of the process completed. Deallocating the memory is also one of the services provided by the memory management unit. Next, file system management. So file is, as we already know, what is a file? It is a collection of related information that may be a text file, that may be a program, or may be a Word document, or video, audio file, right? So the file operation is one of the usable services that is provided by the kernel of the general purpose operating system, and it is responsible for creation, deletion, alteration of the files, and creation, deletion, alteration of the directories, and saving of these files in the secondary storage memory, and providing the automatic allocation of the file space based on the amount of free space available, and providing a flexible naming convention. You can name as our wish, right? So convention for the files, and these are all services provided by the file management. And in the case of IO system management, kernel is responsible for routing the IO requests coming from the different users and the external devices or internal devices, applications to appropriate IO device of the system. And in well-structured operating system, the direct accessing of IO device is not at all possible, right? It is not at all allowed. And the access to them is provided through a set of application program interfaces, which are going to discuss in the next class, which are exposed by the kernel of the general purpose operating system. And the kernel maintains a list of all the input-output devices of the system. And the service device manager of the kernel is responsible for handling all input-output devices related to the operations, and the kernel talks to the IO devices through a set of low-level system calls, which are called as device drivers, which is very important for the 2-mark question. The kernel talks with IO devices. You can't able to direct interaction with IO device is not allowed, right? So the kernel talks to the IO devices through a set of low-level system calls, which are implemented in a service, right? That are called as the device drivers. And secondary storage memory management. It deals with the managing the secondary storage memory devices if any connected to the system. Secondary memory is used to back up the medium for programs and data, since main memory is volatile, right? And in most of the systems, the secondary storage is kept in the hard disk. Some of the services the kernel deals regarding the secondary memory storage, like disk storage allocation, disk scheduling, free disk space management. And there are 2 types of memory space that are available: user space and kernel space. Actually, the services of the applications are divided into 2 types: kernel applications and user applications. And our user applications are executed or run in the space called as user space, and the space where the kernel applications are run and handled. Okay, that space is called as kernel space. Now we are going to discuss about some of the kernel responsibilities regarding the real-time operating system. Okay, so the kernel of the real-time operating system is called as real-time kernel. Okay, so just now we discussed about the basic functions regarding basic functions of the kernel of the general purpose operating system. There are 2 types of operating systems that are available: a general purpose operating system and real-time operating system. And we also discussed some of the differences between the general purpose operating system and real-time operating system. The kernel of the real-time operating system is called as real-time kernel. Now we are going to see some of the basic functionalities provided by the real-time kernel, that is the kernel of the real-time operating system.
Excuse me, ma'am. చాలా మందికి ఇన్కరెక్ట్ పాస్వర్డ్ అని వస్తుందంట మ్యామ్. అది
So the kernel of the real-time operating system is referred as real-time kernel. And it is highly specialized, and it contains only the minimal set of the services required for running the user applications. And the basic functions of the real-time kernel are tasks or process management, task scheduling or process scheduling, task synchronization or process synchronization, error handling or exception handling, and memory management, interrupt handling, and time management. These are all some of the functionalities. All of the essential functionalities which are maintained by the are handled by the real-time kernel, the operating system. Okay, so this task management deals with the setting of the memory space for the task, loading the task code into the memory space, allocating the system resources, the setting of the task control block. Okay, so these are all some of the services provided by the task management. So what do you mean of this task control block, which is maintained by the task management? No? It usually contains the entire information regarding that particular task, like task ID, which is given unique for each task, task state, whether it is the running state, a block state, a create state, what type of the task is, whether it's a hard real time or soft real time, a task priority, task context pointer, task pointer. These are all some of the contents maintained by the task control block. Okay, so some of the services utilized by these task management regarding the task control block of the task is in this following way: that creates a task control block for a task and creating when it is created, and delete and remove after the execution is completed, and updating the status of the task control block as the state of the task is changing. Okay. Task scheduling, it deals with the sharing of the CPU. Why? Because in the case of multitasking system, multiple processes or multiple tasks are executed concurrently, right? So to increase the performance of the system, or to increase the speed of the execution. So here the kernel application called scheduler, which schedules the execution of all these multiple tasks. And synchronization means establishing the communication between the multiple tasks for the proper establishing the concurrent execution in the multitasking system. And error exception handling. So during the execution of the task, some exceptions may be raised or some errors may be occurred. So like insufficient memory time or deadlock. So what do you mean of deadlock? When multiple tasks and multiple processes are executing, when same resources are required by the multiple process, when the process is held by the resources held by the another process, and remaining the process is requested for the same resource, no, that is in the deadlock position. And divided by 0. If you divide by anything with zeros, you will get infinite. That infinite can't be understood by the digital circuit. These are all the errors that exceptions rise during the execution of the task. And memory management, like compared to the general purpose operating system, where dynamic memory allocation is followed, whereas in the case of real-time operating system, block-wise memory is memory allocation is possible. That too on the need basis, the memory is allocated. Next, interrupt handling. So it deals with the different types of the interrupts. Interrupt may be two types of interrupts are available actually: synchronous interrupt and asynchronous interrupt. That interrupt may be occurred during by the internal devices of the system, or may be occurred from the external devices. So the interrupts which are occurring synchronized with the current execution task, that are called as synchronous interrupts. Some of the a best example we can say software interrupts. Asynchronous interrupts, that are interrupts which occurred at any point of the execution at any time. I mean, unexpected errors occurred, no? Some unexpected failures may occur, no? Those type of interrupts are called as asynchronous interrupts. So the best example we can say overflow interrupts, serial data reception, transmission interrupts. There are considered as the asynchronous interrupts. So students, today we discussed about some of these kernel responsibilities regarding the general purpose operating system and real-time operating system. In the next class, we are going to discuss about the task, process, and threads.